Today, we're diving into the story of Qal'at al-Bahrain, a place that holds the memory of nearly 4,000 years of human history. In 2005, it was officially named one of the most precious historical sites on the planet. But just months later, it faced a very modern threat that could have wiped out its entire meaning.
And that really gets to the heart of our question today. How in the world do you protect a city that's thousands of years old from the unstoppable pressures of the 21st century? Well, the answer here was pretty wild. It meant they had to literally redraw the map and completely rethink the story of the site itself.
Okay, so first things first, what are we actually talking about here? To really get what was at stake, you have to understand this wasn't just a pile of ruins. This was the magnificent capital of the Dilmun Civilization, a major player in the ancient world. And the timescale is just mind-boggling. I mean, just think about this. People lived here continuously for almost 4,000 years. That's from the Bronze Age all the way to the 16th century. That kind of unbroken record of civilization in one spot is incredibly rare. So how does all that history get packed into one place? Well, the site is what archaeologists call a tell. You can think of it like a giant layer cake of history. Every time a city fell into ruin, the next generation just built right on top of it. So each layer you dig through is a whole new chapter in that 4,000-year story. So you put all that together and you get what UNESCO calls outstanding universal value. And you can see why, right? It was a capital city, a bustling trading port, a place where different cultures met, and a military fortress. It was the whole package. Its story was complete. Or so everyone thought.
But just when this amazing place was getting the global recognition it deserved, a huge threat appeared on the horizon, a really serious one.
And it's insane how fast this all went down. So in July 2005, the site gets its World Heritage status. Awesome, right? Well, just a few months later, bam! Plans are unveiled for a massive 600-hectare artificial island literally right in front of the site. It was so serious that by February, UNESCO had to send in an emergency team. And here's the craziest part, the real kicker. In the very document that made it a World Heritage Site, the committee had actually warned them about this exact thing. They basically said, hey, whatever you do, please don't build anything in the water out front. You'll ruin the site's integrity. So this wasn't just some random threat. They saw it coming a mile away. This crisis, this huge threat, actually forced everyone to take a much closer look. And what they found, well, it was the key to saving the whole place. And the weirdest part, the key wasn't on the land at all. It was hidden just under the waves. The new island project was going to cut the ancient city off from the sea forever. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but the ruins are on the land, right? So what's the big deal about the water? Well, it turns out the water was everything. It all came down to two incredible discoveries just off the coast. First, this ancient sea channel, almost 2 kilometers long, that was basically a superhighway for ships, carving a path through a coral reef that was otherwise impossible to cross. And second, this stone sea tower sitting right at the channel's entrance, which was probably like an ancient lighthouse, guiding all those trading ships safely into port. And here is the absolute game changer. These sea features weren't just nice little details. They were the entire reason the city existed there in the first place. Without that channel, this spot would have been completely useless to a trading empire like Dilmun. The city and the sea were physically, historically, completely inseparable. So once they had this epiphany, it led to a really bold, totally unprecedented solution. After what the official reports call intense discussions, the experts and the government of Bahrain realized they couldn't just protect the site, they had to completely redefine what the site was. The thinking was simple but so powerful. Step 1. Okay, we get it now. Building that island would basically rip the historical heart out of this place. Step 2. That channel and that tower out in the water, they aren't just near the site. They are the site. They're essential. And step 3, the big one. Let's do something radical. Let's officially expand the protected area to include the sea itself. So here's how they used to see it. This is the original map from 2004. See? The protected area focused entirely on that mound of land. The sea was just, the sea. A pretty backdrop, but not part of the story. And now look at this. This is the map after 2008. The difference is just staggering, right? The original site is that tiny little red box on the coast. But now, look. There's a whole new protected zone in blue for the channel, and this gigantic buffer zone stretching way out into the sea. They literally redrew the map to save history. And just to give you a sense of scale here, the new protected buffer zone is more than 6 times bigger than the old one. This wasn't some minor adjustment. This was a total revolution in how to preserve a coastal heritage site. And you know what? This crazy bold move, it worked. It didn't just stop the threat dead in its tracks, it secured the site's entire, complete story for the future. You can even see this new understanding reflected in the site's official name. It went from just being the Qal'at al-Bahrain archaeological site to Qal'at al-Bahrain, the ancient harbor and capital of Dilmun. The new name puts the harbor right up front. It says this connection to the sea is just as important as the city on the land. And this wasn't just symbolic. It was backed by the full force of law. A royal decree now flat-out prohibits land reclamation in that buffer zone. There are new height restrictions on nearby buildings to protect the skyline, and that sea channel and tower are now just as protected as the land itself.
As the Kingdom of Bahrain themselves put it in their official submission, this extension meant that all the different pieces that make this site so valuable were finally brought together. The story of Qal'at al-Bahrain was, at last, whole.
Which leaves us with a final thought. The story of Qal'at al-Bahrain is a powerful lesson for a challenge facing countries all over the world. What happens when your ancient past and your ambitious future want the very same piece of land, or sea? In this case, the solution wasn't to choose one over the other, but to realize that a deeper, fuller understanding of the past was the only way to build a better future.